because I was being choked, I woke up. I immediately look over at my best friend and I'm like, did she just choke me? Because there's no way. But she is, y'all, she passed out. She's knocked out sleep. So I look over on the other side of me and there he is.
Do you believe you could be haunted by an evil spirit? Do you believe your best friend could be possessed? I mean, could it actually happen? She says that's what happened to her, and we're about to hear her story. So let's get into it.
Whenever they tell y'all to take heed when y'all go to New Orleans and watch out what you're doing, it's not a joke and you should really listen. So about 5 years ago, we had a hurricane here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is where I'm from. And during the hurricane, my home was destroyed, all that. So we were living in New Orleans in hotels until FEMA trailers were provided, homes were fixed, things like that. So I was in New Orleans from about beginning of September to the end of November. While I was there, a lot of paranormal, highly spiritual, high demonic things happened. It all started, and I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, this is crazy, why would you have even done that? Mind you, I was 19 at the time. I didn't know no better. I was out there with my friends. I didn't have no family out there. My friends were my family, and we were really just exploring, having fun, trying to make the best of our time while we were there. And I was also not as close to God as I am now as I was then. So we went to Marie Laveau's voodoo shop that is on Bourbon Street. When we walked in, I felt a little off. I was already kind of scared to go in there. It was not my initial idea to go in. It's just that we were with a group of people and they kind of went in. I kind of was like very hesitant because I knew a lot about voodoo already. I do have an auntie who passed, but she used to practice voodoo, and I heard a lot of stories about her growing up. So I was just overall very fearful, but I still went inside because I was like, really, what's the worst that can happen? I'm just going in here. So we're looking around, all the things. I try not to touch anything, y'all, because I don't know the power of anything that anything holds in there. I knew that everything was used for dark magic and I wasn't trying to touch it. So I didn't touch anything. But I did end up coming across the altar that they have in there. I did go by the altar and I did look at it for a while. I did not leave an offering and I did not touch it. I know that it said that you're supposed to leave an offering, supposed to leave something, but I know for sure you're not supposed to touch it, and I did not touch it, y'all. I didn't.
So just because I saw it, just because I came and see it, I, what is an offering? Is it money? Is it something else? Is it, a uh, you know, piece of my hair that I don't have? You know what I mean? Like what is an offering? Because I know it could be something other than money, right? Let me know in the comments. But let's keep going.
But I am going to say, after we left that voodoo shop, everything went downhill for me. And it was weird because even though we were all there, I swear I don't think anyone else that was with me experienced what I experienced but me. So we've left the voodoo shop by now, and mind you, because we were displaced, we were staying in hotels, as I mentioned before. So maybe some days had passed, not too many, just a few days had passed or so. And me and one of my best friends were sleeping in my hotel room at the time. So it was a king bed, and she slept on one side and I slept on the other far end of the other side. And it's the middle of night, so we're sleeping, da 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 da. So as I am trying to sleep, I feel being choked, like hardly choked. And because I was being choked, I woke up. I immediately look over at my best friend and I'm like, did she just choke me? Because there's no way. But she is, y'all, she passed out. She's knocked out sleep. So I look over on the other side of me and there he is. There was a tall man figure, whatever. It was a tall man standing over me. But I'm not going to say he was a figure because I clearly remember what he looked like, y'all. I can clearly tell you what he had on. So I don't really know what the outfit is called, but have y'all ever seen like in Africa when they wear like those, I don't know if it's Africa. I really don't know where it's at. I'm gonna just say Africa, but correct me if I'm wrong. Where they wear like those full grass suits from head to toe. Let me see if I can figure out what it's called and I'm gonna come back. I couldn't get the name of it, but I know that it's done at the masquerade festivals that they hold. And it's, you know, the full body thing where you can't really see the face too well, but it's like covering from head to toe and it's like very dramatic, all right? So the man was wearing that, similar to that, but it was bandanas. It was like a full bandana outfit and it kind of reminded me of something that they were wearing like Mardi Gras maybe, like just like, I don't know what they call it during Mardi Gras either, y'all, because I'm Lake Charles. They don't do Mardi Gras like that. Not like they do it out there, but yeah. So,
When did the pee come out? Cause, you know, if I would have woke up from feeling like I'm choked and the only other person in the room with me is knocked out sleep, and then I turn to the other direction and there's this man standing right there, I'm peeing. You know, especially dressed like she said. Especially dressed like she said he was dressed. Look, tell me at what point does the pee come out? You know, because I can't be alone in this. All right, somebody else has to say, "Hey, I would have peed on myself too." If you would have peed on yourself, let me know in the comments so I won't be, you know, it'd be less embarrassing that I let this, you know, out on the internet to live forever. You know, tell me I'm not alone. All right, let's keep going.
so he just had full bandana outfit, but I could still see his face a little. Like the bandana was like right here, but you could still see his grimace and you could still see his eyes, but then the bandana covered that. So he had this part exposed of his face. Y'all, he was standing over me smiling. And instantly, I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm tripping. Like, I'm tripping. So, y'all, I get to rubbing my eyes. I'm like, this not real. He's still there. So, I was scared as hell, but I knew that it wasn't a real person actually there because I just knew it wasn't. Like, I don't know. I could just tell that whatever it was demonic, and I could tell that it wasn't real in a sense. So I just covered the covers with my eyes and I continued to act like I was sleeping. But y'all, that's just the first weird thing that happened. Now, what I'm finna tell y'all next, this is where it gets real. This is where things got completely freaky. Completely. So after that hotel, I would say maybe a couple weeks later, I was moved into a different hotel. And this is where things got weird. So I know a lot of people have talked about seeing this shadow man with the hat. A lot of people, and I've seen something on TikTok recently, a lot of people were saying how they've seen this man before, they seen this man before, they seen this man. Well, that shadow man with the hat was in my next hotel room. But what was weird was I was not the only person seeing him. People would come and spend the night because, like, I was there with my friends, y'all. So some of my friends would come and spend the night, and, y'all, they were seeing him, too. They were literally telling me it looked like somebody is standing in the corner. Like, I felt like somebody was watching us while we were sleeping. Somebody was standing in the corner. So that's when I'm like, all right, I ain't tripping. Something is in here. But I know better than anybody else and the next person to know that whenever you know that there's spirits presence in your and think that the best thing to do most of the time is just ignore them and act like they don't exist, because they normally cannot mess with you unless you give them permission to. All right?
So you treat them like roaches, you know, like a lot a lot of people treat their roaches the same way. All right, act like they're not there. They be sitting there watching TV, the roach crawl across the TV, and they don't do nothing. They just, like it's like they don't even see it. This this the only difference is I think roaches can mess with you without permission. That's the only difference. But other than that, I like they ain't there. uh, let's let's keep going.
So, like I told y'all, I was there for a long time. I was in that specific hotel room for almost a month. So, about a month or so, I'm just in there. I'm seeing this shadow man every night. Eventually, I just kind of got used to it, and then things started getting more creepy. So, I ended up switching hotel rooms again for the third time, because they kept having condense. It was a lot going on. So in my new room, he followed me there to the new room, which I thought was pretty odd, because I thought that maybe the only reason why I was seeing him over there is because he was a ghost of that hotel. But apparently he wasn't a ghost of just that hotel. He was just the ghost that wanted me at the time. I don't know. So that's when things.
Now the ghost is stalking you. Like, I don't know what you did to that ghost, but he he must have asked for your number. You told him no. Something. You got a ghost as a stalker. That's crazy. You can't put a restraining order on him. Nothing like that. You got you can't get you can't call the police or nothing. This is boy. I hope that never happens to me. Okay, please don't. Well, maybe you know, if my ex-wife leave this earth before me, I could see her stalking me, but she ain't shit. But other than that, I don't think I did anything to anybody that'll make them want to stalk me. I ain't do nothing to her. She did everything to me. But the type of person she is, she would do that. I can see it. Let's, let's go.
It started getting even more weird. So he did follow me to the next hotel, and I stayed there until it was time to leave. I did switch rooms at that hotel, but I stayed in that hotel the entire time I was there. Things started moving by themselves. Things were randomly, like noises were randomly being made. It felt like, I don't know how to explain it, because it's really like y'all, like, I mean, like, you know how something is just thrown across the room, like, just things was just happening, that it was in that moment that I know that that spirit was trying to make himself present. He wanted me to acknowledge that he was there. And then, like, the TV would just be randomly cutting off. There was nothing wrong with the power. It would just, like, it's like somebody was just turning the TV off on me all the time. And I just kept ignoring it, y'all. I just kept ignoring it, because I'm like, So one day, all me, my best friend, and a few of my other friends that were guys and stuff, they were there, and we were all hanging out. My best friend went for a walk downstairs or something like that, and she came back. And when she came back, she was just acting very funny, like, and we were just really like, what's going on with you? So we thought shawty had got laced or something, because at the time we all smoked. I mean, I don't do that now, but at the time I did. And so we just like, okay, she must have like smoked with somebody down there, some random person, and they done laced her. Cause we done seen people get laced in New Orleans before. Like, it's not uncommon to get laced. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? People just, they just don't care about other people's well-beings. So the guys that we with, they instantly like, oh, hell no, we going downstairs. We going to find out who did this. Ain't no way they done laced her. She in here tripping. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So they left, and it's just me and her in the room, and I'm just like, you know, watching her or whatever, making sure she good, make sure nothing happens to her, make sure she don't pass out. You know, I just got to make sure my friend good. So at the minute they left, she gets up, and she looks at me, and she was like, you got to get out of New Orleans. You got to get out of New Orleans. I was like, what is you talking about? She like, you got to get out of New Orleans, you got to get in New Orleans. And then right after she said that, y'all, I don't know what happened, but who was speaking to me, that was not my best friend. That didn't sound like my best friend. That was not her voice. That she was not in her right mind. That was a completely different person, y'all. I swear for everything. Y'all, I'm about to tell y'all. So, like I said, that voice that was in my best friend, that was not my best friend, y'all. Completely different than her regular voice. The voice kind of reminded me of just like a lady of a different time. Definitely had to be from maybe the 20s, or even actually before that. Could have been the 1800s. Honestly, don't know what time frame she came from, but the voice was very elegant. I'm not gonna lie, it was very elegant, but it was very distinct, and it was very much of not this time. There was no slang being said. It was no, and to say we were in New Orleans, they had no type of like Cajun or French accent. Not really, at least. It wasn't no accent or nothing. Like, it was like one of the things she said, because she was talking to me, she's like, darling, like, just, darling, if I could do this, then, like, I don't know, y'all get what I'm saying, but shorty had a different voice, okay? So she started talking in this voice and whatnot, just completely different. She's looking, we're in the bathroom, mind you, at this time, because we moved to the bathroom, because she came in the bathroom, because I was sitting on the toilet, and she came in the bathroom, and she was sitting on the edge of the tub, and she's looking in the corner, and she's like, no, you can't have her. And I'm like, who the hell shawty talking to? Because ain't nobody right there, y'all. It was literally just some space. So I'm like, who the hell she talk to? And she's like, no, y'all never take her. You'll never take her. And then she look at me, and she's like telling me who she's talking to, because I'm asking her, I'm like, who you talking to? She said, the boys. She was like telling me that basically, I'm going to just sum up what she said. The shadow man that I was seeing was not actually a shadow man, but a disguise to scare me. Because if I were to see children, I would be less fearful. I don't understand that. But there were two little boys that she was talking to. And the reason why that they were haunting me as a shadow man was because they wanted me to be fearful. They wanted me to kill myself, which I was very depressed at that time. But
Man, why are we still there? That's my first question. Second question, well, I guess you can't get away from them because they follow you. But why are you inviting other people over to this mess? I wish somebody would invite me over to somewhere where it's haunted. And don't tell me first. Like, let me make my own decisions to go there. Don't just surprise me with this stuff when I get there. Let me know beforehand. That's messed up. You know, let's keep going.
But I thought I was depressed because of all the things I had going on. But apparently they were sucking my energy and trying to make me depressed because they wanted me to kill myself and come to live with them. She said that I reminded them of their mother who was a slave, and their father, who was a slave master. Their mother used to get raped by the father, and that is how they came about. The reason why they wanted me to come down there with them is because they no longer had their mother with them. And I don't know where she was. I don't know. Maybe she went to heaven and they didn't. I really don't know. But their mother was not with them. And they felt like I reminded them of their mother because of my weakness. Because the boys, for some reason, knew that I had been SA'd before. And just like their mother who had been SA'd, it reminded them of them, and they thought I would be a perfect fit for them. Very, very creepy that some ghosts wanted me to kill myself, but I'm still here. So, she also was like, you need to wear a cross. She said, you have something about you. She was like, something very special. And if I could have it, I would take it, but I can't have it. So you need to protect it. She was like, God is always with you, but you need to protect yourself. And I was just like, So at this point, I'm really confused because I'm like, all right, I don't know if this is real or fake at this point. Because not only did my friend just get possessed by something, the thing that's possessing her is trying to help me. So then I'm really getting freaked out because I'm like, I'm really confused, y'all. I'm 100% confused. But yet I knew my friend was possessed because it was not her voice. There was no way possible she could have made that voice because it was literally not her voice. And she's not a voice actor, y'all.
So the evil spirit that showed up, the two little boys, you could see them, but the good spirit, I guess you could call it, had to go into your best friend in order to talk to you. Maybe she's just using your best friend as a voice, or maybe if she showed up in her regular form, I'm saying it's a her because girl power. But maybe if you would have saw her in her regular form, you wouldn't have paid attention. Because you were ignoring the boys who came dressed as the shadow man. You were ignoring them the whole time. And she saw you ignoring them. And the only way to actually get this message to you is to jump into your best friend, use your best friend's body as she speaks to you. I mean, if it's all real and we all believed in this and this actually happened, that's a smart move. That is an intelligent spirit that came to help you out right there. But yeah, let's keep going.
She don't know how to do that. So after that, she told me some more information, but I'm going to keep that private to myself because I felt like that was a personal thing. But anyways, after she finished talking and doing all that, I'm still just freaked out, like, because I was trying to engage. I was engaging in conversation with her, but I was just getting more and more freaked out because I'm still at this point like, this is not my friend, y'all. This is not my friend. So I start slapping my friend in her face. I mean, when I tell y'all, I slapped the shit out of her. I slapped the hell out of her. And y'all, when I slapped her, her face didn't even turn. I slapped her, she did this. She just looked at me. So then I'm like, oh, hell no. So I'm like, maybe she is laced. And I was like, let me get her some milk, because I heard that milk at the time would take your high down. Try to get her to drink the milk. She ain't want to drink the milk. That ain't work. So then I was like, okay, let me run her under some water. So I took her shirt off of her and I had pushed her into the tub and I let the water run on her. And right before this is what's crazy, y'all. She still was in it, still talking like this, still saying crazy stuff. The boys was just about to walk into the room. She snapped up out of it. She looked at me. She said, why I'm in the shower? And why do you have water running on me? What's going on? And she's like, where's my shirt? I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't remember what just happened? And she like, what are you talking about? Y'all, she didn't know nothing that happened. Nothing that happened. She doesn't remember a piece of anything. And what sucks is I was the only person in the room to tell her what happened. Yeah. But she does remember one thing. She remembers that she doesn't remember what happened because she knows that she like kind of blacked out in the moment. And she also slept for 3 days straight after that. She said she felt entirely drained. She had to sleep for 3 days straight. So after the days, I had a lot to think about over those days. I'm just in my head about what happened. I was trying to forget about it, but I really couldn't because everything that was said was really like sitting on me heavy. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, y'all. I'm not going to say the paranormal stuff stopped directly after that because I did still see the shadow man in my room. But I knew who it was. Yeah. But because I knew who it was, I think things actually got a little bit worse in the time period because that's when the spirits started making themselves more pronounced. Even though I still knew it wasn't the boys, they still never made themselves present. It was still always that shadow man figure. But I after all the weird things happening in the room, like things get thrown around, things get turned off, things just being messed up, I had a feeling it had to have been kids then there because I'm like, this is just, it was that stuff kids do, you know, that's all they know how to do. So then after that, I come to my best friend about it, to her. I'll tell, you know, we talked about the situation some more, this and that and the third. And I'm like, look, I need to get these spirits off of me. I need to find a way to get these spirits off of me. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. I don't want to go and talk to nobody who does voodoo out here because I don't know. They could have been the one that put it on me. Like, I don't really know because even though I said everything happened after I went to the voodoo shop, there are plenty of people up and down Bourbon Street that know how to do voodoo magic and sick things on you. So I really didn't know, y'all. So that's when we had the bright idea, and it was said, she was like, we was looking up things on how to do this, how to get rid of them, how to tell them to flee. And the idea of a seance came up. And a seance was the last thing that I wanted to perform. But at that point, I felt like I had no other option. And I wasn't as close to God as I was then. So I didn't think that maybe I could just pray it away or I could go to a priest about this. And quite frankly, I was very ashamed of what happened because I felt like no one was going to believe me.
Yeah, I get that.
So it just really got weird. So we did do the seance. I remember exactly how it was done. I'm not going to tell y'all how it was done because I'm not going to teach y'all how to do one. I don't recommend ever doing that in your life because you can actually come in contact with things that have nothing for you. But with all being said, so as we're preparing for our seance, we turned off all the lights, things and that. We lit our candles. I'm freaking out, but I'm like, this has to work. So whenever she turned the lights off, I do remember my best friend was like, Danica, it's right behind you. It's right behind you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, it's right behind you. She started crying. And she was like, turn the light on. So they turned the light on. And I'm like, what's going on? She was like, the shadow man, he was standing right over you. He was standing right behind you. I was like, oh my God, hell no. Like, let's hurry up and get this done because now I'm really getting creeped out. And the fact that you're seeing things now. And it's weird though because she didn't really have a lot of seeing things. She had her own personal experience. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell y'all all of her personal experience. This I was allowed to talk about because I got permission and it happened to both of us. So she allowed me to talk about it. Plus, I am the only person who knows mostly of what happened. So, but she's seen them. So I'm like, oh no. So as we sit in our circle getting ready for our seance, I remember everything got instantly cold, y'all. Cold. I was freezing cold. I was crying, shaking, and freezing cold. And I hadn't even come in contact or started talking to anything. Mind you, the only person that was talking to anything in that room was her. We did have a couple other people in the room with us as well, though. They were there for moral support. But I'm sure they both remember their personal experiences with this because something was said to each and every one of us in that room that there's no way she would have known, but she was being shown things. It was very weird. So throughout the seance, she came in contact with my grandfather, my great grandfather. She said some things to him. She was telling me that she was being guided towards a light or a lighthouse or something like that, and they had people reaching out, trying to touch her, and they were like trying to get help, and the thing that was guiding her was telling her no, like telling them no, you can't get help or things like that. I don't know, y'all. It was weird. When she finally was able to make contact, she did tell the spirits to leave me alone. And I said it out my mouth too. And that they had no room there for me. That they couldn't be there. Like, they were not allowed. And eventually, once it was over, everything seemed to go back to normal. That was the most freakiest experience I had ever experienced in my life. That is the most demonic and paranormal thing as ever done in my life. I would never ever partake in those things again. And quite frankly, I do still visit New Orleans from time to time, but I am still afraid each time I go. But I know that I have the Jesus with me now more than I had then. I have him now because I got myself saved, okay? So I'm not like so fearful, but I'm not gonna say I'm fearful. I'm gonna play this. I'm not fearful. I am very mindful of what I do and where I go when I'm there. Just my overall thing is to let y'all know, please take heed when y'all go there, because there are things that can happen and you don't know how powerful you are until something is coming after you. You don't know what God placed in you, what gifts that you have. You don't know anything. You just don't know what is going to come after you. You doesn't know what wants what you have. You might be the most regular person in the world, and it does not mean nothing to these spirits out there. Just be mindful and do not, I repeat, do not let curiosity kill the freaking cat. Don't go into that voodoo shop. All right? Now that's all I had to say.
I like what she said there at the end. You know, God is powerful. You know, praying to God and Jesus, I believe, would have destroyed all of this before it got too far. Before her friend got possessed. You know, that wouldn't have been a thing. The shadow man or the boys pretending to be a shadow man would have been out of here. Because prayer is powerful, man. I've seen prayer at work. You know, I've seen and witnessed what it can do. Um, you know, my mother has prayed for me many of times, and I I've had a couple of experiences where I think back on it, and you know that there's no way it didn't end bad. You know, if it wasn't for God, that's the only way to explain it. You know, that's the only way to explain how my brakes go out um driving on the interstate. I'm in the far right lane. It's a lot of traffic happening. And I I go to get off the interstate, but then I realize that it's traffic getting off the interstate and I'm not going to be able to stop. So I turn my wheel back to the left and my car does a 180 and slides all the way from the right, all the way, and hits the median in the middle of the interstate. And I hit nobody, no other cars. But a few seconds ago, the interstate was jam packed. And I've fallen asleep while driving. I drove a mile down a small road, one lane in each direction, and a ditch on both sides. There's no way God wasn't steering that wheel while I was asleep for about a mile. I woke up and I'm actually on the other side of the road, in the grass. Half of my car is in the grass, and I panic and I try to turn the wheel to the right to get back on the road. My car again does another 180 and stops in the grass right before the ditch, and right behind my car is a telephone pole. A second later, if I was asleep a second later, God is amazing, man. I see y'all in the next one.